He's a big one.
Oh my goodness. Those are some odd ears you got there.
Thank you.
In here?
I said I was cold, and my dad was trying to light the heater, and I told him there's a deer in the field, and he looks and he's like, "That's Big 9, get the gun."
You got him! Yeah, you wanna go check him out?
Yeah.
Alright, let's go take a look at him. Who's that one?
Big 9.
Niner?
He broke it a little bit right there.
He did?
Yeah, I think that's just...
We got youth season coming up. It starts tomorrow. My daughter will be in a couple of days. I'm always fired up about that. Love hunting with my daughter. She started hunting with me when she was only 3 years old. I started taking her hunting, and then when she was old enough to carry a gun, 6 or 7 years old, we've got a cool front or cold front supposed to be moving in, so that'll sure help us. We're gonna be hunting all next week. By the time you guys check back with us, hopefully we've got a deer on the ground.
For tonight and Friday, a band of strong to severe thunderstorms is expected to spread east across the area this afternoon through this evening, along and ahead of a cold front.
All right, here it is, September 21st, the first hunt of the year. We were gonna be out all week, but daughter got a little bit of a cold here early this week, so this is the first time we've been able to make it out. We had a big temperature swing. It was 90 degrees yesterday. It's down to 65 today for a high, so. And I've got my little Pager with me, who's not so little anymore. Well, we'll see how it goes. We got a couple hours to sit in here. Look at this one coming at you.
Welcome to Midwest Whitetail. By the time you watch this, it's going to be October, which means most of the seasons around the country are open. And man, I can't wait to get into a tree. Josh and I are out here doing some work on one of the farms that's new to me, and it's like 50 degrees right now, so it feels like we should be in a tree. It feels like fall should be, and we're excited. Before we get into it though, I wanted to share one quick update, something that I think is pretty cool. If you remember back in February, one of our off-season shows, I talked about a buck I call Flyers, just a giant non-typical buck, but I think someone had hit him during muzzleloader season, and I showed the big hole in his left shoulder. And it was interesting, this morning I went back and read some of the comments of people weighing in on whether they thought the deer would live or not, and it seemed like most people thought the deer was basically a dead deer walking. Well, my buddy who hunts fairly close to that farm actually got pictures of him the other day, and I mean, I'm shocked. I definitely was leaning towards he would probably die, but it's just another example of how tough these animals are. Just so impressive that he was able to survive that. It was just a gaping hole, and you can see on the pictures where it's scarred up and healed up, and he looks to be fine. I'm not surprised his antler size went way down. He definitely went downhill there, but I'm assuming just his body spent a lot of effort trying to heal from that wound, and and not putting that energy into growing antlers. So that's not surprising, but it's so cool to see that he's alive. Unfortunately, I can't hunt that farm this year. That was part of me moving away from my job. I lost permission on that farm, so I won't be able to be the one that ends that story, but I wanted to at least share it with you guys just because it's so cool to see how resilient these animals are. Josh and I are gonna go get some work done. It's rainy, it's cold, and as I mentioned, this cold front that we're experiencing actually rolled in a few days ago, and Owen Reigler got a chance to take his daughter Paige out for Iowa's youth season. They had a great hunt, so we're gonna let you check that out now, and Josh and I will be back here in a little bit.
We get up to the blind, I kind of made a little bit of a path through the corn so we don't have to walk right where I mowed. So I'll show you when we get up there. It's just like right behind the blind. You always gotta grab a foxtail on any hike out in the timber. It's customary. You laugh, but you watch. We'll see a shooter tonight. Every time I chew on a foxtail, it happens. Wider than my hand. Next one's right up there. That is a big deer. You're gonna see one tonight, Paige. I got a feeling. Well, we got a little toasty getting in here. We got a little yearling buck in the field already. We just got set up, but I've got a lot of confidence about tonight. Should be an awesome evening. We've got a couple of really nice bucks in here. We've got one we call Blades. He's like a 5 or 6 year old buck, really nice deer. And we've got an old one we call Grandpa. He's just a clean 8. He's got huge bases, all gnarly bases. He's not real wide, but he's a cool buck. And there's a couple of 10s in here too that we haven't named, but should be a good evening. They didn't get the memo, bucks only. About 6:30 or so right now. Still got high hopes. We've seen a couple more deer. Tonight's the night. Nice 9 with nice brow. Sure hunt. I know him from this year, but I don't know him from years past that I can remember. He's coming right up the edge of that corn. You still see him good? How's that? Okay, whenever you're ready. That's a good shot. Just tuck it back just a little bit behind the shoulder. Yeah. Whoa! Oh my! The smell is success. What the fuck? Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, we were watching this. I guess that was a 2-year-old buck out there for a long time, and he kept looking back through the corn there. 4 or 5 minutes went by, and finally that buck popped out, and Paige saw him first. Said, "There's a buck right there." And I put the glasses on him. I said, "Man, that's a pretty nice buck." It's like, "That's your hunt. It's up to you, but I don't know if I'm passing him." That's a good deer. And down he goes.
He's got some great mass though. Down here I can't even barely wrap my fingers around him. My favorite hunting memory with my dad is like probably the one with Big 9, where we were just sitting there and he was being like extremely loud with the heater. It just kept clicking really loud. And then he walked into the field. I was like, "Dad, there's a buck." He's like, "Oh, that's Big 9. Grab the gun." I was like, "Whoa, really?" It just all happened so fast. Yeah.
Can't miss a year. That's awesome. Another year. Gosh, I don't know, hon. He might be your best buck. You're there, and that might make an inch there. Should be close. Oh, awesome.
And his mass.
But the most important thing, time was someone.
Yeah, there was a spider on my gun.
There. I don't even know you.
I love hunting. Like, some people are like, "Why do you like hunting so much?" It's like, I can't even explain it. Just, I do.
So we're at my tree nursery. I took 10 acres by my house and I actually put a high fence around it. And it's actually to keep the deer out. So I do not hunt in a high fence. The one high fence I have has my trees in it and it protects them from the deer. And what I'm doing with my tree nursery is getting my trees to between 2 and 5 years old, keeping them protected. And we're going to show you some different varieties of apples, pears, chestnuts, persimmons, crab apples, and show you what we got going on in my tree nursery. So this is a persimmon that I planted from seed. I believe this is the 3rd growing season on it. So I picked these persimmons out of specific trees, the actual fruit, and took the seed and started them. I got them out of northern Missouri, so they had some attributes that I really liked, and I've started a lot of these from seed. So this is an example of a persimmon, and I believe this is the 3rd growing season on this one. So the apple trees that I focus on are Arkansas Black would probably be my favorite tree, Liberty, Enterprise, Freedom, and there's a few others in here. So there's maybe 6 varieties I have. So they're very disease resistant. And the second thing is they're dropping fruit everywhere from maybe September all the way into January. A lot of these trees will hold their fruit into January, especially the Arkansas Black. So really highly disease resistant, and the deer absolutely love them. So once you get the trees established, they're just going to continue to pour down fruit pretty much every year if you take care of them. I've got these to the point where before I put them out in the field, I'll have them pruned and trained the way I want them, and I'll make sure the fertility's good. But the deer will have something to eat basically from September all the way to January, and I don't have to spend a bunch of money every year to redo a food plot or change things up every year and add fertilizer and spray. These things will pretty much take care of themselves after a few years with a little bit of maintenance. So that's why I plant them. I'm a tree nerd. I love these trees, and I love having the option of fruit that is dropping for the critters from September all the way into January. It's just a really great option to have, and it's cheap over the long run. It ends up being pretty cost effective for me. So great way to feed the deer, great way to have a snack for myself, and I just love trees, so it's a lot of fun for me.
This is one of those scrapes where it's hanging clear out in the, away from the edge, so it's clear out in the middle of this opening, and I rubber wired that downward hanging limb on there. You can just see how big the scrape is opened up. They're just hammering this. You can see the trail going past my left shoulder here. I can see it going through the right side, so I bet this thing is quadrupled in size since I first made it a few weeks ago. This is the last spot that I had Ryno on last time. I feel like this is really close to where he beds. It's really thick back behind me here, and I've been getting him going that direction in the evening, so we'll see if he's on this camera this time. No Ryno this time, but there's another pretty good looking buck that I haven't seen before, so kind of weird that Ryno wasn't on this camera or that camera. He's been on every single card pull, so maybe he shifted off somewhere, or maybe it's just a little bit of a slow time, but hopefully he's still around. Well, we just got done checking our final camera here, and I haven't looked at all the pictures from this farm, but I did check the ones that were in the area I expected to get Ryno and have been getting Ryno, and he didn't show up. But I still have some cards to go through, and hopefully there's some new bucks start showing up. It was kind of funny. We pulled up to this camera and kind of were rolling through the pictures, noticed a bunch of deer out in this field in the background, and finally looked at the date and the time, and it was an hour ago. So it was like 3:30 in the afternoon. This field was full of deer, working scrapes, young bucks, bunch of does, but that cold front has them up on their feet. This is the first time that I'm actually buck hunting this farm, so I'm approaching it a little bit different, but it doesn't change the fact that there's still a ton of does and we need to take a lot off of this farm. So we're gonna get some other guys involved this year and have a good time this opening week. We're gonna have a little Midwest Whitetail Doe Fest sometime later in the opening week, and we'll show you all that, but I know I'm excited. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I know myself, Jared, and Drake, we all have tags for this farm, and I think we're going to try to bring some of our interns along with us. But these guys, him and Drake, when they were in Montana, they came up with a tournament system. So there's going to be a point system. We haven't quite, nailed down exactly what that is. I do know that I don't have much faith in Jared running this, because it seems like whether it's shed hunting or turkey hunting, he always gets the best spot. But I know we're excited, and the weather looks to be pretty good. Might be a little rainy, but
yeah, I'm just excited. It'll be competitive, no doubt. I won't cheat, I promise that, but it'll be competitive. We'll have a good time, and it'll just be a good chance to start in a target-rich environment like this. It's guaranteed we're going to get some shots and start filling our freezers early in the season. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to just having a good time with all the guys in a quote-unquote deer camp to start the year. So we'll bring all that to you. And I just got back from Montana, so I had a great time chasing elk out there. I'll probably put together a little highlight and put it on my video blog on our Midwest Whitetail Daily channel, and we'll really start ramping up that content now that we're all getting out in the field. So be sure to follow along there, and good luck to all you guys that are hunting out there, and thanks for watching Midwest Whitetail.